UrbSecurity about this aspect, safety, and potential solutions. So Pedro, over to you.
Thank you, Thomas. Welcome again. So I'm the lead expert of the UrbSecurity network, which, by the way, is the first VPN network in Urbact that is dealing with this topic. So we were quite a pioneer in this area. But of course, this area has a lot of connections with other networks, particularly grading. And as Thomas already touched, the problem is that maybe you can create big, interesting parks like we saw in Vic, but no one uses. And the perception of security of a park is a major part of this decision that people will not go to this park. So we bring two. We bring two examples of our network. One is about Parma, and it's about how, especially in Parma, which is already a medium-sized big city, how we can introduce participatory processes in designing parks. So our UrbSecurity project was much concerned not with terrorism or police enforcement, which are, of course, it's not on the scope of municipalities, but trying to, under their scope, trying to find and address several dimensions of security. And especially in parks and public spaces in general, perception is very important. So what Parma wanted to do is really to reformate this park and so introduce a new way of approaching this problem to participation. I will pass it over to Ivan Dinato, who is responsible for the project in Parma. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Well, this is one of the two historical parts of our city. It's a quite big space in the city center. It's more than 200,000 square meters. It's all closed by fences and gates, but it's open from 6 o'clock in the morning till midnight in the evening during summertime. And it's quite loved by the population because all the Parma citizens have a childhood memory in the park. So all the citizens are really caring about the park. And 20 years ago, more or less, we made a giant renovation of the park to bring it back to the original structure. It is the 18th century project of the park, and we put it back as it was at that time. The problem is that the structure of the park, it's not that good for safety nowadays and for safety perception. You can see maybe there are all these small green spaces surrounded by hedges and trees, and we cannot simply cut them because the law for cultural heritage forbids us to make any changement. So a lot of citizens use this park just running around in the external ring, or for example, they use it to pass from the west side to the historical center cycling or going by foot, but all the inner part of the park are quite isolated, and in the recent years, the lack of perception of security increased. Next slide, please. So we have a problem naturally with public lighting system, and during the evening and during the winters when the dark hours arrive earlier, a lot of citizens just prefer not to go to the park. So we are losing one of the best of our monuments and public space because people doesn't feel safe in the park anymore. And so trying to guard the monumental historical place, we are losing the livability of the place. And a lot of, let's say, not good intentioned people are going to the park. And so phenomena like drug dealing are increasing, and a lot of sections of the park are not, you cannot go there anymore and be safe. So what we have done, next slide please, we decided that it was time to invest more money in the park. We will invest more around 3 million euros in the next 2 years just to renovate the lighting system, public lighting system, to renovate the fountain in the pond and so on. But we decided that we had to change the approach. We gather around the table, thanks to UrbSecurity project, all the actors in our ULG. So not only the local police forces and the national police forces, but the citizen, the district, the 2 schools that are on the external board of the park, the university that has a campus over there, the theater for the children that has a space in the park, and the district and the associations and so on, and even the national police. And above all, the city planner and the external architect that were in charge to designing the new master plan of the park. And that's the outcome of this process. We made a map with all the suggestions of the citizen to what we could do, and with all the highlighting all the problems of the park nowadays. And so the new master plan for the Ducal Park is practically made bottom-up approach with the citizen influence. And because, let's say that we couldn't afford to just give 10 police officers 24 hours a day in the park, so the aim of the master plan is to bring back the people in the park, and bringing back the good people make escape the bad ones, more or less.
Thank you, Ivan. So, as you see, we are dealing with security by design principles. So how to do urban planning in a way that we preserve security or increase security in our public space. This is very important. So, but it's very hard to measure it, of course, because this is perception. It's quite difficult to measure it. But what we plan to do in the future to try to measure the changes or the effects that you are promoting?
Well, at the beginning of the process, we made a survey in our citizen, with our citizen to highlight which were the time when they were going to the park, which were the problems and so on. We are planning to do the same in 2 or 3 years after all the integration are complete, and to monitor the public sentiment. Parma is not such a big city, it's 200,000 inhabitants, and you know, every time there is a new article on the local newspaper or the letter to the director of the local newspapers, these are quite indicative of the public sentiment around about the park. So we will try to do this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Usually in this process you don't have absolute number, index. You have something that is changing. So you get 7 out of 10, doesn't matter. But then you have 8 or have 6 depending after 2 years. So what is important is variation and not exactly the absolute number. So we're going to pass to the second case, present Maria Olanova from Slovakia, from the city of Michalovce, which has a very interesting tool, quite similar to the one we saw today, but I think also the same way that it could be useful for you to adopt it, because it's from the technological point of view, it's easily adaptable. So please, Maria Olanova, give you the slide.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to introduce ourselves, because not many people, I believe, know where Michalovce are. It's a very small town or city, because it's only 40,000 people living there, and it's in a very fast east of Slovakia, maybe the closest biggest or bigger city in Košice. Maybe you have heard about that, and we are just 40 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. And as you said, we use this participatory approach in our small-scale action, which we named Opinion Map, where we introduce people to help us to deal with the security in the city. It was something very common with Parma, but we did it in a little bit different way, because we used the orthophoto map on geographical information system, where we just add another new layer where people could exactly put the mark or choose the location of the place which they wanted to describe from the security point of view, describing if the place is safe enough or not, and plus giving their proposal how we can make it safer in the future. So you can see the examples of some places which were picked up by inhabitants, and there are 2 colors, as you can see, the green and the red ones. The green ones are, of course, the positive ones, so these are positive examples picked by the people, but the red ones are the ones which people don't see like secure enough. Like you can see at the top on left side, there is the Foster Park. Is a photo of the Foster Park, which we are going to deal with in the future, because it was evaluated by the people that it's a place which is very unsafe for the people. So this participatory approach was a good tool for us just to make people involved in making decisions with us, the municipality of Michalovce, because it wasn't before in the past. Just because we are a post-communist country, and the thinking of people there is still in a way that somebody makes a decision and people are just listening, not making decisions with us, and we wanted to change it. It's a time when we are changing it. It's only a few years when we are doing it, but people are still not used to it. So we want to make a change. And we expect that more and more people will be helping us with not only come and consume the place, public spaces, but will help us to change it together with the experts, with the project people, and so on. So with the professional part. And this one. What was the outcome of our project was the manual, as you can see. That is in the middle. There is the cover of the document, which is actually the strategic document for us, where the experts are giving the examples how we are going to change our city in a way, just because we are in a greening session. So I just pick up some examples how the greenery should be solved in the future. For example, that the trees should be planted only in a separate line, like you can see, or the problem is the traffic, because the city was made for cars, not for cyclists, and we want to change it because we do not like it. So we need to bully the drivers. We don't want them, and we just want to do it in ways. Sorry for the word, but actually this mechanism is called professional bullying mechanism. It's not my word. It's not my word. So this bullying mechanism, you can see the examples about middle, above and below the manual. That we would place the park spaces plus the islands with the trees, just to slow down drivers. And also this, I'd like to pick up the one which is at the bottom on the left, because I like it the most personally. It's a psychological effect in it. Maybe you know why. You know why? No? No idea. This aisle of trees, which you can see on both sides of the road, is a psychological effect for the drivers, because it's like an obstacle and it makes you drive slower. So that's the thing which I like the most. Just to attack people psycho. Be careful. Because we are here pedestrians, cyclists, and we don't want to just have some troubles with you. And plus, of course, because this manual is very huge document and it deals with different elements, like with the material used, with I don't know, furniture which should be used, with lighting in the city. It also deals with the, as I said, materials, and if you can see the cloud which is raining, it is the way how we should deal with the rainwater, which should be drained in the lawns, and the materials that should be used should be permeable as well in the future. So thank you for attention.
I just want to make two comments. One is that all these techniques, we use a lot of these techniques in security, which is called nudging, which is a very inexpensive way to influence the behavior of people. And there are several techniques, so I recommend that you read something about this because it's quite new. And the second idea is that all this system is working continuously. That's very important. Instead of making just one-shot surveys and then 2 years another one, they build a system that they are constantly receiving feedback from citizens, so they can tune up their. Thank you very much. You get some.
Put some tools for physical activities in different areas of the park, so that people will not go just in the external ring, particularly in the park. And then we are planning to leave the management and the maintenance of the park to a special firm that will guard the park for all the day and care about it with special needs.
Yeah, thank you so much. Don't we have a question to Hess cities? What is the end of this list? This is the one.
We'd like to have some solutions and some comments, so you are free to add, but the thing is that you should know before time in person. So you have to come and make them realize that what part of the policy you would like to deal with.
So first a study visit to Michalovce.
Yes, first study and then open the map.
Can I ask you something as a question? Are people triggered when they feel they're by the security, or is it also we just don't like this place? So for me it was very interesting to look at security because of my background. Is it do they really focus on security, or is it broader?
When we analyzed all the solutions coming from the inhabitants, we just found out that the issues they were talking about were completely different. There were drugs, there were lightning, there was Roma community, also neglected places, not unsafe, but just not nice to see. And hard to say to me if it was what percentage, what was it? I don't know, maybe I just asked because this is the IT expert and she dealt with that.
Okay.
We do not know, sure, it was like 300 comments that we analyzed, but most of them, hard to say for me, maybe 70-80% of that was negative.
Thank you so much. Yeah, a very quick question to Victoria, where to find more about... You see? Yeah, you don't have a microphone.
Yes, two big questions. How do you have implemented redundancies in your project? Big one. And what about the green prescription? You can Google green prescription and you will see what NHS did in the UK or New Zealand did quite a lot of resources. In the US it's called Prescription RX, they are prescribed national parks. And the other one, I will put the answer on Facebook, have a green space because it's a longer one. It will be there by tomorrow.
I can answer the second one. So, a road to healthier, safer, greener, more social, including cities, involving cities as heavy included elements like microgardens and streets and parks. So, having health and green space, we are dealing with pocket parks and parklets. There are nice parklets in the city of Limerick. Also, Poznan has a larger program on pocket gardens, also opening allotment gardens, community space of allotment gardens for the local community. So we are dealing with this part as well.
The green prescription that helps those who have mental health issues like stress, burnout, depression, but we need more studies to find out whether things work or not. According to the international studies, they do work and they do reduce stress and burnout rates. Sure, but we don't have our own research. That's the answer from our side.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to big thank for all of our speakers. It was wonderful. And also to you all for these interesting questions. To conclude, it is clear that we need to build back greener, especially after the pandemic. And most of all, we need to learn to use better our existing green spaces. The animation of green spaces, or making them more attractive, can really bring significant well-being benefits. Even small-scale or temporary green intervention can bring about well-being benefits. And the organization of small facilitated activities in outdoor activities can be really effective. simply opening a cafe or a food kiosk in a park can help. And if you want to improve safety in a park and you don't have, you have only a limited budget, then you can simply start with cleaning the area with volunteers and then organize lots and lots of activities as according to the Eyes on the Street concept proposed by Jane Jacobs, so people feel more secure if other people are present. So the final message is, as it was put by Charles Montgomery, a famous Canadian urbanist, green space in cities shouldn't be considered an optional luxury, and it is a crucial part of a healthy human habitat. So I really hope that you have got inspired today. You have an urge now to take action. Yes, we are going to publish soon on the Health and Green Space a detailed guide for cities on health-oriented planning and management of urban green spaces. Please use the Health Cities generator and also look into the exciting work of UrbSecurity. Thank you so much for being with us.